you just do it, it'll turn out okay. And today we're talking about the Kingdom Hearts cast, those whose story we tell. Now, we are not talking about any Disney character or Final Fantasy character. That's a whole different story. They have their own backgrounds in Disney and in FF, which usually don't match up with Kingdom Hearts characters. No, today we're mainly talking about your original people. We may mention the other people here and there, and what part they play in the main character's cast, but
Yeah.
But first, I'll have my guest introduce himself again.
Hi, I'm Nick. I'm a he, him, and I'm from the Nick McSlighton channel. I do a lot of Kingdom Hearts stuff, and I was invited on to talk about it.
But before we start, what's your opinion about the Kingdom Hearts cast members in general?
I like most of them. I like a lot of the like their hair. They got fun hair. I don't know. I think when I was younger, I really liked the organization. So I really had like this big love boner for them. But as I got older, I kind of tempered on that opinion a little bit. But I think they're all pretty good. It's a little they're getting a little expansive right now. There's a lot of characters doing a lot of things, but they seem fine.
Sure. But let's start with the character that first appeared, the character that talks to them all, SORA.
Yeah.
I think he's grown a lot in the three main games, other game obviously, but he's also stayed the same pretty much too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Sora's weird because like depending on which game you're looking at, I feel like he's like a totally separate character each time. Like he sticks with the making friends, saving worlds bit, but when you like look at his personality, I feel like it's very all over the place. Case in point, if you look at Chain of Memories Sora, he's a very angry 14-year-old, very angsty, very single-minded,
very horny.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. And then if you look at like Dream Drop Sora, he's kind of just this bubbly airhead, and it's like these are not the same person.
I've heard people say he's a little dumber in KH2.
Yeah, I feel like there was a progressive dumbing down of him, but he's not like a genius or like meant to be that smart in like one or Chain of Memories, but he definitely kind of like gets surprised by things that are a little more obvious than you'd expect someone to get surprised about.
You mentioned he's one single-minded in Chain of Memories. I agree, but also he said the same. He's always been I don't say obsessed with towards KAIRI, and he's focused out on NAMINE, which technically is KAIRI a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like
we'll get to that.
Yeah, I feel like in that game, and I feel like you could make a case, the reason he's angsty, the reason he's very single-minded about this is because he's being manipulated by the organization and NAMINE, so it's like his emotions are out of whack because of it. But I don't know, you never really get to see that side of Sora again, which I think is a shame.
I think you might have seen not as single-minded, but in Remind.
Yeah, I would say he actually has that real focused, trying to say like desperately trying to help KAIRI reclaim herself situation. So I guess you do see it there too. It's a good point.
So, any other growth he's had throughout this that you've noticed?
Well, as far as growth is concerned, he grows in every single game and then is reset. I get.
Well, yeah, physical growth, obviously.
Yeah. I get why. I get the meta reasons. I get the in-story reasons, but here's the thing that I notice, which feels to me a little shoehorned in towards the end of Kingdom Hearts 3, where he kind of breaks down because all of his friends are dying and like he feels like he has no power without them. Like, okay, I get it, but he literally in the next scene saves everybody single-handedly. So what are we doing here? What are we talking about?
Yeah, I think they're trying to. I think that point they're trying to that catchphrase, and that I forget when they started doing it.
Yeah, but it's
the first game says my friends are my power.
Right. It feels a little literal.
They're trying to ram that into the ground at that point.
Yeah, it feels a little literal, whereas like he could have done more of a my friends are my power and like I'm drawing strength from them and I'm going to win this to save them, instead of like now I'm nothing, which is like SORA. I don't know if you know this, but when you were 14, you beat up Hercules by yourself. What are you talking about?
That is Hercules. He beat up Cloud.
Yeah, and Riku. Like, what are we doing here, SORA? I don't get that. But as far as other kinds of growth, I don't know. I hard to pinpoint because of how drastically I feel like they change him game dependent.
Right. The love interest kind of.
Yeah, KAIRI. I wish they just gave her more of a personality, which is not a hot take, but you know.
Yeah, I think everyone's main complaint in the third game was all that training, and it wasn't until the DLC game that we actually saw her in action.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it sucks being like, I get why she's sort of this damsel in distress. It's a play on the idea from the Disney movies. I get it. But then like you come to her character and it's just like she doesn't have much of one. She's like silly in the first game if you like read her dialogue, but who the hell does that? And then like she's like determined in 2, but like that's not really a character trait, that's like an emotion. So it's like, and she just gets captured again anyway, so I don't know. And then in 3 she does all this training just to be immediately beaten and then actually do a thing in the DLC, which is like nearly 21 years of Kingdom Hearts before KAIRI does a thing is ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, I don't know if people knows her other power. She has different power besides physical power. She's the one that brings Sora, that turns Sora's Heartless back into his body form.
Right,
she's the one that pulls Sora in third one game. She's the one that pulls Sora out of the depths by her light power. And I guess in 2 she's the one that creates the bridge to get them up on the ship.
Fair enough. She does 4 things in 21 years. She's doing great.
But you know what I mean? Yeah. But I think they want more physicality. They want her to do more action scenes instead of just.
Yeah. I also think it doesn't super help that everything she does, she's doing like for SORA or to help SORA instead of, for herself or for the worlds or for the purpose of being heroic. Like she saves SORA for SORA. She makes that bridge for SORA. She helps SORA.
Well, I guess. Like the other ones, I guess that's because she wants. I guess he does want to do those things because she wants him back for her, like too. I guess you think about it, maybe.
Yeah. It's it's not that she doesn't want it as a character, like she does, but she's not doing any things for herself, if that makes sense. Like she isn't like going to become a Keyblade wielder because she wants to become stronger as a person. She's doing it. Actually, I don't know the reason why she did it. Because they told her to do it, I guess.
I think also she's the one whose outfit changes the most between the series.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they all get some upgrades, but her outfits are totally different between series.
Yeah. Yeah, Sora gets some repeat outfits, Riku gets some repeat outfits, but she's the only one who's always something different.
Not including her schoolgirl uniform.
Yeah.
So overall, how would you make KAIRI different if you were control? What would you do for her?
Give her more agency in the second game. Like, if we want to keep the first game the same, right? Sure. Like, you know, we're doing this play off of Disney, whatever, great. But in the second game, maybe even the first game, after she's rescued, give her more agency to herself to do things. You know, Sora's going to save the world. KAIRI can help. KAIRI's going out to find Sora. Maybe KAIRI can do some stuff and not immediately get captured by SAIX. I don't know. Just literally anything.
I think they tried doing that in the manga. Have you ever read that before?
I've read the One and Chain of Memories manga, but not farther than that.
Yeah, and I read some too, and she explored the dark world, that dark area by herself for a long time. Not the dark area, the in-between areas.
See, that'd be cool.
Yeah. That's a different universe, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. I know this is a shipping thing, but where do you stand? Do you stand anywhere on the KAIRI Sora pairing? I think it's a good one, bad one, or you know?
I mean, it makes sense. I don't really. I think I argued with this on Facebook once or twice. Maybe it was Reddit. I don't know. I feel like it's just like a syndrome of leading man, leading lady issue, but like it's not that they don't like each other. You know, I just don't get a lot of like moments from them. Like we got the star moment. We got the moment in a lot of moments in Kingdom Hearts 3. But then we have like a really weak hug in 2. Like,
yeah, I think part of it personally is, this is my opinion, the difference between what we as Americans think of romance and stuff and what the Japanese think of that.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's probably a cultural thing. So from my American sensibilities, my Westerner sensibilities, it's not super. It's very subtle. It's very subtle for me. But I don't dislike it.
Yeah, there's I can share this with you later on. But I found this Reddit post, I think, where they explored, the guys talked about the translations between the American translations and Japanese translations, and they're totally different in KH3. Where, you know, where Sora's, where the one source that she was strong, and the American one, he says, "I'm strong with you." And like the Japanese ones, he said, "You're strong. You're stronger than I thought you were." So it's like totally different.
That is weird. There's
dialogue.
Yeah, I noticed from doing like a lot of my little videos, because I'll use the KH Wiki to look up a couple things, that the translations sometimes are just wild, because they'll have both the English translation and the Japanese translation, and then the exact translation if you had made that Japanese into English, and it's not the same as the English translation.
It's like I call it the old 90s dubism problem.
Yeah. It really does kind of read like that, honestly.
I think my favorite one was, you ever saw a show called Digimon? And in the second series, the one character was drowning, And in the Japanese one, he's saying, "I gotta reach the shore before I drown," or something like that.
Mm.
And the American one, he's like, "Oh no, my fur is dry clean only."
All right.
It's like totally. Let's the seriousness of the situation. Like look at pun.
Yeah. Well, I kind of get it, but that feels off topic at this point. Those 4 kids translations.
Yeah, but I think that, well, I guess we forget on next character, but I think they're getting better at that now. I think the newer ones are getting better at translating a little bit more exact the detail and the names and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Well, hey, at least the American 90 ones beat the Speed Racer the old Speed Racer ones where they were just dubbing they even dubbed correctly. It's like blah 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 blah, one word.
Yeah.
But let's go to the best friend. Riku.
So just to interject, my thoughts on Riku is that he has had the most development of any character. Like you can kind of like I guess they're literary terms. I don't know. I don't really know the broad umbrella term for it, but if Sora's character arc is like a flat one, he doesn't really change, I think is the idea. Riku had a negative one at the first game and then a positive one for like the rest of the games, just trying to recover from that initial failing. He's sort of the Zuko of this franchise, I would say. And I appreciate that about him.
Yeah, I think he's the first character who actually did overcome the darkness.
Mm-hmm. First one we see, anyway.
Yeah, and he actually uses it for good.
Mm-hmm.
Which I think the other characters either they're too scared of it or they use it for evil.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, darkness in itself is not good or evil. It's what you use. It's what you do with it.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons I really like his story in Chain of Memories, because it is just that, him learning that. That's the whole game, is him learning that, and it's really cool.
Yeah, I heard this in the first game. The main 3 characters that all their outfits are based on fishermen or sea things.
Oh, maybe I'm not sure. Does Riku have like flood pants on? Is that why it looks like that?
Yeah,
oh, okay.
or flood, or he has the boots on,
mm-hmm.
fisherman boots.
Huh? I never noticed that. I'll have to double check. Because as far as I understood, the idea was in the first game, Nomura was really into zippers. In the second game, Nomura was really into belts. And in the third game, Nomura was really into plaid. And
well, in the second game, KAIRI had the zippers.
KAIRI had the zippers? Maybe I have it mixed up. Maybe belts was the first game and zippers was the second. I could see that. I get the feeling. He definitely. I think the game would be more interesting if he was the main character. It's not uninteresting, to be clear. Just it would have more of a dynamic character.
You mentioned the weak hug in Cage too. A lot of people think that since Sora was so crying over Riku that he loves Riku more than KAIRI.
Yeah.
You've heard that argument before?
Yeah, I've heard that argument before. I don't. It could be.
Well, I think it's more of he spent all this time looking for Riku, like a year. Not a year passed, but the whole year looking for Riku, the whole game, and until the end, he knew KAIRI was safe, so he wasn't that worried about her.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does.
But it's just like.
Sorry, go ahead.
But yeah, that's why I think he was. Plus, he might also be like. You're younger, you run a girl you like. You're like can't breathe, can't talk.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I think the hug was weak, in my opinion, at least.
Gotcha.
Like I said, what do you think?
Sora does like kissing the homies goodnight. That's for sure. That's what that scene taught me. For that specific scene, I think part of it is Sora's mostly maybe not surprised, but because he does know KAIRI's got captured. But I feel like here's my interpretation of the scene. I feel like when KAIRI gets captured again, he's really upset. He wants SAIX to take him to her, and then when he doesn't, and he finds her again, he's kind of just like, all right, she's safe, cool. That's done. That's sweet. Now it's time to find Riku again. Even though this big jerk ANSEM's here, because he's been doing that for 3 games now, like you said. And then he finally realizes this is Riku. If you've been searching for someone for your best friend for a little over a year, you might break down and cry when you find him.
So why do you think Riku's the first one of the cast of the original to become a Keyblade Master?
I think it's because of his mastery over darkness. If you notice, Birth by Sleep, TERRA fails the Mark of Mastery because he doesn't have a good control over his darkness. When him and AQUA fight, it like shows up and it like is an issue, and he like what's the word when you like push something down to like hide it? Whatever. I've just described the word. Yeah, he represses it. Whereas Riku has a mastery of it from Chain of Memories. And so when they do their Mark of Mastery, Riku doesn't have an issue going into darkness, fighting in darkness, controlling darkness, but for good, like you had put it earlier. And so when Sora falls to darkness, he's not ready. He's not ready to be a master, but Riku is, because he has some sort of mastery over it. They both, if you think about it, kind of have mastery over light in their own way, Sora more so, but I think you got to have a good mastery of both to be a true Keyblade like master.
Yeah, I think it's 3. Riku's the darkness, Sora's the neutral, and KAIRI's the light.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Also, he's the only one who actually went through the formal passing the Keyblade training. He did the same. TERRA did the same to him. The Val, everything. KAIRI accidentally grabbed the Keyblade one time when she was a kid, and I guess VENTUS just possessed Sora.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know how important getting bequeathed to Keyblade is to the mastery. Apparently not that important, since Sora can still take the mark, but
yeah, it takes me. I always wonder: did Sora get the Keyblade because Riku passed it, or is it because VENTUS, the Keyblade Master, was inside him already? Not Keyblade Master, but was inside of him.
As far as I understand it, kind of both. Like, what ends up happening is, in the moment when the Keyblade is being summoned, Riku is too deep in the darkness for the Keyblade to go to him. So it jumps to Sora, who has the capacity to wield it due to VENTUS being in his heart. That is how I understand it. It's needlessly complex, but that's how I understand it to be.
Overall, I think this group is called the Destiny Island Trio. Mm-hmm. How do they work as a group?
What do you mean?
We talked about how they all work individually, but how they work together.
Right. I mean, like, do you mean like in a meta sense, in like a game sense? Like, how do you mean?
In all the senses.
Okay. Well, I feel like if they were grouped together, so there's this weird thing in Union Cross where they would have these like little Pokemon-esque symbols in the corner: speed, power, and magic. And I feel like in the trio of Sora, Donald, and Goofy, we got Sora as speed, Donald as magic, and Goofy as power. Although I think it switches. I think maybe Goofy is speed in that one, yeah, because of the green. But
I always thought it was attack, magic, defense.
Yeah, that's how it is in the first one, but in Union Cross, it's a little different. And so I think if you were going to take those like red, green, and blue sigils and kind of group them with Sora, Riku, and Kairi, I feel like Riku would be power, Sora speed, and Kairi magic, and that would still work well for the like how the game systems are set up, but it would kind of put Sora as a goofy instead of Sora as a Riku.
Oh, okay. What about in the term? You ever played Zelda?
I've played Wind Waker.
Okay, you know the 3 parts of the Triforce, right?
Mm-hmm.
Wisdom, courage, power.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'd say Sora's courage, Riku is power, and Kairi is wisdom. Maybe.
I agree with that. I think that makes sense. Yeah.
Right, so, before we go on, I mean, real quick, we're not talking about in general. The 3 friends on the island too, I think are totally. I know you played the games or not. They're totally different from their main game counterparts.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, all the FF characters are.
Yeah. What about them?
Like they're much younger than they are.
Oh yeah.
I think.
Yeah, they're wildly different, but like they try to make them work, and it's weird. Like Selfie in 2 is like, oh, Tidus and Waka are all wrapped up in their ball game, and it's like, so they still play blitzball, but like Tidus wouldn't have met Waka but when they were
also
older.
I think it's funny is definitely Selfie and Leon would be a couple in this universe because they're totally different ages.
Yeah.
You know, they're romantic and 8. But yeah, I'm a 14-year-old and I'm a 20-year-old guy. Yeah,
I'm still the same age somehow. What also doesn't make sense, right? Here's a little Final Fantasy lore for you. The reason Leon has the slash is because him and Cypher slash each other in the face. That's why they have opposite side scars. But Cypher is a teenager in this show or in this game and doesn't know Leon as far as we know. So
yeah,
but they both have the scar implying it happened.
Yeah, we'll get more to those people. So Cypher and we get the 2 thing maybe, but yeah.
Sounds good.
Yeah, like also, yeah, we all know the Final Fantasy 7 cast, Cloud, all of them, and I think that's definitely a FF7 Sid. I think
it is.
Yeah.
Pretty much only Leon.
He's totally an FF4 Sid. What?
Pretty much only Leon isn't from FF7 in that little group.
Yeah. See, yeah. I think we have 7, 8, and 10 in the first game.
Mm-hmm.
But all right, let's go on to the first bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
Now, what was your? Did you see the twist? Did you see when you first played the game? Did you see the villain, not the real villain twist coming?
No, like because mostly because I think it like I don't know. Is it a twist?
Well, I think it was more of a twist back then in the early 2000s. I think nowadays is more played up and it's more played off nowadays. You know, people are more used to it than they were back then.
Are you talking about him being the real bad guy? Or are you talking about this being
him being the real bad guy? All this time, you know, they build up Maleficent. You know, it's the big bad, the final boss.
I see.
And then
all of a sudden, yeah. And then all of a sudden he takes. Yeah, I think I don't know, because I feel like I've always held the belief that he was kind of shoehorned in at the last second. I guess according to TV tropes, Chernobog was going to be the big bad, but they couldn't get like the proper they couldn't make the fight work in time, so they set up ANSEM instead. And it's like, okay, cool. And like they sprinkle in that he's going to be there, but that's kind of why it feels shoehorned in. He shows up once on the island and then just kind of takes over Riku and then becomes the big bad. And it's like, I feel like even the reason it feels like a twist is because he wasn't supposed to be the bad guy, and they just had to make it work because you already beat Maleficent. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's I guess, you know, first time I played it, it was surprising because I mainly had forgotten who this guy was until he becomes the big bad.
I think they tried the same. They did the same thing in. You ever watch Frozen?
Mm-hmm.
Were you thinking? I don't know who they thought the bad guy was in that game, but then all of a sudden, I think it was Anna's boyfriend came to. Oh, said, "Hey, by the way, thanks for taking the tower. I'm in charge now. You're dead."
Yeah, he is just suddenly the bad guy out of nowhere, and it doesn't really make sense. It's, yeah, I don't know if that was intentional, like they really wanted to try and have a twist villain, or if it was just like, we can't think of a villain, so we're just gonna make it this guy, I guess.
I mean, speaking of that, we're not in the 3 yet, but early. What do you think about the almost rumor or fact or not? They originally wanted to make. I think Elsa, the bad guy in that game, in that world game.
That's a game theory, and I actually think it holds a lot of water because you were in this labyrinthian castle just out of nowhere. No, that's reused assets. There's no way that's not a reused asset of Elsa turning evil or trapping you in her castle. And then like the wolf doesn't really make a ton of sense even in game, but I could see it makes sense that Marshmallow wants to help you beat the wolf because he wants to help Elsa. In the game itself, it doesn't really track. Like in the game itself, it doesn't really track because the Marshmallow is just there, I guess. So I think that's what happened. I agree with that theory.
I think we see it more in XENMAS later on, but do you see any traces of the original personality in ANSEM of TERRA?
No, not like kind of in the face, because he looks like TERRA a little bit, not as much as I think he gets like TERRA's hair if TERRA had a little bit longer hair. But if I recall correctly, and I might not be, this would be more like XEHANORT's Heartless, whereas the Nobody would be more like TERRA's Nobody, if that makes sense, because
we'll get more.
TERRA's Heartless is the Guardian.
Yeah. So we'll get more in the TERRA part in this when we get to him, but yeah, that's what's right. So of first villain, what do you think of him?
I liked him. I thought he was really cool. I think him turning into a boat is really cool. I think he doesn't necessarily need to be shirtless, but I mean, hey, to each their own.
Gotta have some fan service.
Gotta have some fan service. And I think the Guardian is actually a really sick character, even before the reveal that it's TERRA. I love just the creature at all. Also, did we put a spoiler warning on this? I forgot.
Okay.
Let's put it here. This is a spoiler warning. Spoilers. Because I do know a guy who's going through this story right now, and this would technically be spoilers for him. So I want to just put that on there, right there. Spoiler. I always thought ANSEM was sick.
Yeah, when I first played the game on normal mode or whatever I did back in the PS2 era, I thought he's a pretty easy boss. When I played him on proud mode on my PS4 game, that Guardian was a pain in the ass, blocking my path all the time, blocking me.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't have to run around him or wait for him to disappear.
Yeah. In KH3 or if you replayed one? Okay.
During the final island fight when you're by yourself, and and Goofy and Donald and Goofy are blocked by the shield again.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's I think his it's called the desperation attack, where the Guardian goes under the ground and like shoots up a bunch and he shoots out lasers when they're done. I thought that was really cool attack too. ANSEM 2 though is very annoying. Yes. That fight. I did a no damage run, and that was the one that gave me the story boss that gave me the most trouble.
I haven't tried the no damage run yet. I haven't tried the level 1 run yet. So the hardest one I did was the critical run or proud mode run.
Gotcha. Yeah. Level 1 is hard, but it's not as difficult as you expect because there's exploits, and they're a little kinder to you. Well, they're actually not as kind to you in 1, but it's easier than you think, than you'd expect it to be, but it is still very hard. if that makes sense.
Funny story, kind of a sheet. But I got the less than 15-hour run on the game, only because I went past the 99 hours trying to grind. I tried to grind back and forth, accidentally losing the place isn't on sometimes, grinding, going back to beat this guy in the final boss. I always lost. I always kept them losing to either the Guardian form or the ship form until I mastered it. But I went past 99 hours, and that's, I guess that counts if you're even though it's 112 hours or 100 whatever hours. If you're under the 15 mark, you still get the trophy.
Yeah.
So.
How they did that, but yeah.
But like I said, the main part about this about him, especially the Riku fight, Riku is, I said this before, I'll say it again, the non-skippable cutscenes in that game, the original game.
Mm.
Yeah, like I memorized the whole Kairi's a princess cutscene because I see it like 20, 50, 45 times before I finally beat him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I remember that too, because before 1.5 came out, I would play the PS2 version yearly. So I had this script down pat, memorized. It's been 10 years since that came out. Jesus Christ. And so now I don't ever watch the cutscenes. I'm just hustling through that game. But yeah, like the
I still watch I think I still watch him a bit, except when the first time through. If I do it again, I totally skip him. Second or third time, I still skip him. The first time I still like to watch him for nostalgia, or mainly because I'm a story person and I like the story.
I like the story too, but I just, unless I'm playing for it, I don't.
But seeing the story 20 times in an hour, no, skip it.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Here we go. AXEL/Lee.
Yeah, this guy's had a lot of weird development. He's a lot more divisive now than he used to be. Because in Chain of Memories, he's pretty cool. He's like just this gives no shits assassin, just taking people out left and right. He's a double agent. He tricks Marluxia and Larxene. He's pretty sweet. He comes back because people like him. And then in 358, he's all right there. No complaints. I think it dives deeper into his personality. And then in 2, he's like still kind of cool, but he's a lot more I don't know, not helpless, but like desperate, I guess is a good word for it. And then in 3DS,
in 2, we're seeing him, his character was developed by but I see it. We're seeing his character after 358 days, but we haven't seen the 358 days, game came out later. I don't know if that was planned in advance or not, but if you put them both together, it makes kind of sense.
Yeah, for sure. It totally makes sense why it's happening and what's going on.
But like you say, you don't play. It's a thing. You don't play the side game sometimes. The characters have to think like, who is this? Why is he doing this?
What's going on? In 3DS, I think that's when he cashed in the last of his cool points, because he does that cool save at the end of the game with Sora. But then he gets a Keyblade and people lost their minds in the negative way, which was an interesting thought, or not thought, which is just an interesting reaction to that.
Well, in the third game, he's pretty much, I guess not as useless, but he's pretty much a pointless Keyblade user as KAIRI was.
He loses his cool points in 3 for sure. He's all cashed out. He's in the negative in 3.
What about him in Birth by Sleep?
He's like a kid in Birth by Sleep, so that felt more fan servicey than it felt like anything else.
Yeah. Think he was the same character-wise or personality-wise?
Well, he's very similar personality-wise, but he's a lot more. I don't know how to phrase it. Like, so he's in Chain of Memories in 358 and 2. He's like a nobody, so he's like kind of detached from everything. In Birth by Sleep, you can see how he still like has emotional connections to things because he connects with Ventus, and their whole purpose of joining the organization initially is to like save some girl who has not been revealed yet.
There's rumors about that. We'll get to those rumors later.
Yeah. And so like you could tell he's still like a person, whereas in the other 3 games I mentioned, you can tell he's kind of just like there, and he only starts to care once ROXAS is in his life. So if that makes sense.
Yeah. What about?
Go ahead.
Okay, what about his original friendship with AXEL, and then later on his friendship with ROXAS/XION, and how they're different and the same, or what?
I don't know a ton about his relationship with SAIX because it really only shows up briefly in Birth by Sleep when they're both people, and it kind of seems like AXEL is the lazy slacker, whereas AXEL is the type B personality and Isa is the type A personality, and that's kind of all we get.
Yeah, before he became really close to ROXAS and XION, we found out that he's doing all this stuff for SAIX. He killed the people.
He's doing all the dirty work.
Like he said, I did all the dirty work so you could rise to the top.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which I mean does speak to their relationship. He clearly, cares. But
I think also as Sykes rose more to the top, I guess he kind of left behind maybe. So he was
probably
he's on the ground with ROXAS and stuff. So I guess he got closer to them because of that maybe.
Yeah, I wonder if it's kind of like if you ever worked a job where one of your friends becomes the boss and they're really not your friend anymore.
Yeah,
maybe it's kind of like that kind of situation for him.
I think his first main thing was his death scene in KH2, where he blew himself up.
Yeah. That's a scene a lot of people enjoy, ? Like it's cool, and then a lot of people get sad, but it's still neat. I'm personally a fan of when he murders Vexen. That's a cool scene. I like that scene.
Goodbye.
He does it different in the GBA game, but I can't for the life of me remember
I
what
think
it is.
that one he cusses. Actually cusses.
Yeah,
Somebody told me that one time.
He does cuss in that game. Let me see.
But they like, I guess they muted it, but they like denerfed him and rechain.
Yeah.
Okay, what about his plan, kidnapping KAIRI to get ROXAS back?
Yeah, that's where I kind of was going with the desperation. Because I think he's just grasping at straws. You know, he's just like, oh, I'll just do what I can to try and get ROXAS back, and he has no idea how to do it. He's just doing whatever he can.
Like, okay, like bait. Okay, I'll bait Sora with his girlfriend, and then I'll kill him to bring ROXAS back, or turn them heartless again. Yeah. So where do you rank Axel Lee on your list? Would he be a favorite, a middle tier, or bottom?
I think for me, he'd be somewhere in the middle, I'd say. I was never like a big fan of Axel. Not like a lot of people are, but I always thought he was pretty cool. So I would say a B tier, low A, you know?
All right.
How about you?
Yeah, I think middle over here. But let's get with the memory manipulator. The one, I think the one when the few people get left behind, I guess, NAMINE.
NAMINE. Yeah. What are your thoughts on NAMINE?
Well, I thought she was interesting in the chain of games. You know, obviously, you know, try it. I don't like. I feel sorry for her a lot of the time. I think between her and XION, she has the most sad existence of all the characters, you know. Like, and I think she mentions it in the RIKU story that like part of the reasons, you know, she's part of the reasons, you know, she obviously she's changing Sora's memories so throughout her, obviously, but also I think part of that is because she's part of KAIRI too, and she says that the LUXU says it won't matter. The more I change Sora's memories, the more I make him fall in love with me, or something like that. The deeper his feelings for KAIRI will become. Because I am the shadow of KAIRI.
Right. Yeah, I think with NAMINE, she's really, I feel like kind of how you put it, she's really sympathetic because she's going along with the bad guys, right? She's effectively one of the bad guys, but she's doing it for two reasons. One, probably under threat of death. And two, I think she says later on she just wants a friend. And that's part of the reason she's doing it. Because she is not... Like I feel like in the original Chain of Memories, she says she wants a friend because she was supposed to be like a person who was around a while. And then when the nobodies came up, they're like, it's the nobody of KAIRI, whatever. But she always did have that attachment to KAIRI. So I wonder if maybe like she just kind of has this longing to be whole, and having friends would be something that makes her feel that way. So that could be like kind of like part of it, you know? Then we don't really hear. Go ahead.
I would say also, if you count in the first game, some people thought it was a triangle between Riku, Kairi, Sora triangle of Kairi in the middle, but I don't know that. But this one was a real one. It was the Kairi Sora NAMINE triangle. Kind of, I guess.
Yeah, well, if you make it a square when you throw in Riku, replica Riku.
Yeah, but then later on, you also have the NAMINE / ROXAS and the ROXAS / XION thing. It all gets complicated then.
And NAMINE, I feel like, also kind of gets sidelined in the later games. Like in 2, she's basically just reconstructing Sora's memories at the beginning, and then just kind of disappears. She helps Roxas briefly. I'm not even sure she shows up for more than 5 minutes in 358.
Yeah, at the end of 2, she just rescues Kairi.
So I don't know. I feel like I feel like even she gets more agency than Kairi does.
And she's the only one who's in all the games. She's still wearing the same dress.
She's the only one who doesn't change clothes.
Like, I don't know if she does change dresses and it's bigger, or it's the same dress and her legs get shorter.
Well, she went to Target, right? And she got the dress in the size for when she was 14. Then she got the size when she was 15, and then it up the size in 16. And she gets it for each year, just to make sure.
It's not like the KH2 Sora where he gets the same outfit. He's obviously it's bigger.
Yeah, I liked that detail. If you notice in Rechain of Memories and 2, the outfit is just like a little bit smaller. He just grew just a little bit. And that detail is nice, because they easily could have just said, we're not going to do that detail. But they didn't. They went for it. Appreciate that.
Yeah. Like her birth. Like, she was, like, unlike everyone else, but she was born from 2 different people. The heart of Kairi, but the body of Sora.
Yeah, that's a confusing thing for me that I'm not even going to touch on. I'm not even going to touch it, because I don't get it. I don't get it at all. I get that she comes from the body of Sora, because Kairi's heart was inside Sora when Sora died. Fine. I get that she's part of Kairi because Kairi's heart's nobody. Fine. But when you put all that together, I don't get it. It doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah. I think the reason they said it, because it was reformed, because I think the original thing was, normally Kairi can't have nobody because she has no darkness in her heart, so she can't form a heartless, and nobody's usually only formed when heartless are formed. And since Kairi never made a heartless, it wasn't until she was connected to Sora's heartless that the storyline thing happened.
Yeah, that she could exist, which sure, that makes sense.
So, would you, if you were charged the story, would you do anything differently for her growth or character? Give her more growth? Give her more different storyline, or how would you nominate?
I don't know. I feel like I never even really thought about NAMINE. NAMINE is such a background character after Chain of Memories that I've never even given her a thought about what else she could have done. So I don't have any thoughts about that.
It's weird. All the purpose was to reunite the nobodies with their somebodies, reuniting together, yay! And then later on, like, let's bring it. Oh my God, why do we reunite these? Why do we reunite them? We gotta bring them apart again. And the whole, give them all a new body thing. But yeah. But again, she was the last one to get her body back. She was the first one to appear as an extra character, but she's the last one. But both XION and ROXAS got their bodies back first.
Well, it's because they got to fight, so we need the fighters first.
And she's the only. She's also the only one of the nobody's cast, but it's not a Keyblade user. Shion, they're all everybody's Keyblade. Shion, AXEL, ROXAS, KAIRI, all became Keyblade users, but no Keyblade for NAMINE.
No, I feel like, you know what, to answer your previous question, I feel like what I would do is, if I was Nomura, would start giving her more things to do now, right? She's back. Let's see what she can do. Let's see how she affects the story again. Let's throw her back in, put her back in the ring, that sort of stuff.
Now, can she only manipulate Sora's memories, and the other ones are affected by proxy, or can she manipulate everyone's memories?
Yeah, the first thing, the former. She can only affect Sora's, as I recall, but that in turn affects everyone else's. But only their memory of Sora, which is sure.
I was wondering at first. Later on, I think she likes her later on, but do you think she was jealous of KAIRI or something, or didn't like KAIRI at first, or did she like?
I could see it. Like, there's never really any text that I see where she's like jealous of KAIRI. There's a part where I think she says like, I wish I was KAIRI or something along the lines of that, where she like wishes she could be a whole person who's real, but I don't feel like it's directed towards KAIRI specifically. I feel like for her, she mostly just feels sad that she's not real, if that makes sense. It's not really directed towards anyone in particular. Yeah. And she gets to be.
I also liked. Even though it was brief, it was two appearances, and both 3 and Remind. She's more of a star shaped in the first game, but I like her dialogue with Memory Sora and the Remind that she appears. Yeah, I don't know which one happens first in the timeline. Did she talk to Star Sora first, or did she talk to Sora inside his own body first during Remind?
I think.
What do you think?
I think the star first, but that is confusing. I think the idea, like what you're supposed to take away, is that Sora talks to the star first because Sora says, "Hey, can you find TERRA?" And she goes, "Sure." And then she like starts to try and find him, and then finds Sora in his own heart, and is like, "What the heck are you doing here? I just saw you." And then she finds TERRA, who comes, or Lingering Will, I think, to come fight TERRANORT. I think that's supposed to be the chain of events.
But I thought I'll say she looked good, but she looks cute, I guess. And that Remind appearance, like, hey, it's NAMINE. Oh, she obviously looks older, it's been a year. But yeah, it's like, but look, cute little thing. Also, do we know who the other star was?
I don't think so. I think there's theories, but I don't know if there's anything concrete yet.
Yeah, no, I think the theory might be that she's Lauriam's sister, STRELITZIA, but but we'll get to that later, I guess.
Yeah.
Right. ROXAS.
ROXAS is definitely an S tier character for me. Way up there. High at the top.
I think he's one of the side characters that get the most also gets most development.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree with that. Because his whole shtick in 358 is identity, and I feel like that theme is really poignant with like teens and young adults, because all he wants to do is figure out who he is and why. Whole time. And he never gets to. And then when he finally does get to, the answer is extremely unsatisfying for him.
Yeah.
When he finally gets to know in 2.
Yeah, but the thing, you think he character would be different? I mean, if you play 2 then 3 then days versus days then 2.
I think it would make 2 sadder by proxy, but I don't think it would. You'd have that different of an opinion of him, honestly. I don't get to. I only get to know it from 2 to 358, because that's the way, I played it on release order.
Yeah.
And
I think release order is totally different than chronological order, and when we do that, sometimes the storyline is totally different.
Mm-hmm.
It's like the Star Wars. Do you do them 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6?
Yeah, right.
Totally ignore the last 3. So that's me. That's a different opinion altogether there. But yeah,
What?
Overall, what do you think of his character overall?
Oh, I think it's great. He has his little identity crisis, and then he is a really cool, strong, boss. And then he gets to finally come back and be a person again in 3, which I think is great. I think that's a great use of his character. Same with Namine. I think them both getting to be people for real is a great closer to that character arc, the character arcs they had.
I like there's so much storyline, and 2 refer to Pierre. He's not. It's like, I want to meet you at least once, because they used to share a body, obviously, kind of.
Yeah.
And then also, you think they're going back to the SORA KAIRI thing. You think they're you wonder, are they're like each other too because SORA and KAIRI like each other? They like their different reasons. Are they like the nobody couple until then let me get the whole XION thing, like this that's a whole different story. This ROXAS like XION too, or is it or is there his friend or what? That's like I said, the whole Pentagon love triangle thing.
Yeah.
It's so complicated.
It's very complicated. I feel like just in terms of who spends more time together, XION wins that. But I feel like in terms of like, if you compare them to SORA and KAIRI, NAMINE would win that. So I guess it depends on your starting point.
Yeah. Well, technically they're both connected to KAIRI a bit. One's a heart, True. One's a memory.
Right. True.
And also at the end of it, when she's talking to at the end when she's talking to not only talking to the ROXAS last sword again, you don't know is he says we meet each other like we promised. Is he talking to RIKU? I'm talking to ROXAS there, or she's talking to SORA there? They both made the promise to see NAMINE again. It's like maybe she's talking to both.
I think
the one line sorry.
No, you're good. Go ahead.
The one line I never understood is when they say, "I understand now. I see myself the way you remember me, and you see yourself the way I remember you." What does that mean?
I have no idea. No idea what that means.
And then it's like, it's like, the cute part was that part. Excuse me, but Nami says, "So we can be together again." Yeah, every time SORA and KAIRI together, and SORA's like, "We'll be together every day, right, SORA?" He's like, yeah.
Yeah, we're both gonna be on the island. What are you talking about? Yeah.
Yeah, you'll boys meme like boys. Yeah. Do you think so? Yeah, so you think most of his character developments and obviously in Days, I think, because I think his main character development in K2 was let's go to the beach.
Yeah, he gets reset, so it's like you gotta try again. But he's still kind of doing that identity crisis because his world just kind of falls apart immediately.
Yeah, and it's like also that also has the feeling like, is this world even real? Why is everybody freezing? Why is the sky glitching? Like, what's going on here?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Oh, you know who we forgot? We talked about now. We read the Atom was ANSEM the Wise.
Oh yeah. Do you want to just toss him in now then?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry, people. No pictures for him. No pictures for ANSEM the Wise here.
No, we forgot about him. I think ANSEM the Wise is a really interesting character. Hold on, I'm gonna sneeze. Wait. I think he's a really interesting character. And I think he's like as Diz is like really when he really shines, that like revenge plot is really cool to me. I love that. I love that for him. He's a bad guy. He's just a bad person that got wronged and wants to do the right thing, and I love that. I love that.
Yeah, we see him a little. We see him. We think it's a normal character in Chain Memories, Chain Memories. You know, he's like, oh, I'll help you defeat the organization. Like he's like, okay. But later on too, he's like, they're like nobody's have no heart. Must kill them all, even NAMINE. Like you're useless to me. Like he's pretty much just using NAMINE as the organization used NAMINE. Put SORA's memories back together. Like, okay, he's done. Get rid of her. I don't care anymore. We're just like, no.
Riku's like, that's fucked up, man.
So he lets her escape.
Mm-hmm.
And, we see a little bit more of it in Days. Just like this we get for trusting her. That we like this puppet brought them to us. But later in 2, I guess somehow you see it in both the journal entries, and then in the personality, he realizes maybe I was wrong. Maybe at least according to at least for ROXAS and NAMINE, not all of them in general, but he's like, maybe I was wrong about them. Maybe these people, maybe at least these two are people.
Yeah, I'm gonna tangent real quick. Weird thing, like he realizes he's wrong and that nobody's can have hearts. Great, and then he is very obsessed with putting hearts into data, and then he says, "Oh, it can't be done, can't do it," and the organization has done it twice. What do you mean you can't do it? The data fights are them. Now, I think you could argue because they're nobodies. You could digitize their wills and bodies, but not their hearts. But it's like, I don't know, because he also kind of does it with XION and ROXAS and VENTUS and SORA's heart. Or he himself, not them. Sorry. He does it with himself. He puts himself in SORA's heart. But then also, Data SORA grows a heart, so you can have a heart in Data if it starts there.
Yeah.
That's confusing.
Oh, God. Oh. Get some water. I'll get some water fast.
All right, no problem.
You want to talk?
Yeah. ANSEM the Wise, cool guy, kind of a jerk. That's great. I like that he is he's on a revenge plot, and I like that it blows up in his face because I feel like the theme there is revenge is just going to poison you and screw you over. And it could also screw over the people you're trying to get revenge on. And that's a fun thing. He doesn't really make a big splash after that. He does a little bit in 3, I suppose, but he's not like super pertinent, if I recall. ANSEM wants him to do a thing, and then he gets saved, and he won't do the thing. I don't know. So, A tier character, especially as Diz. He's cool as Diz, just like this mystery guy.
Yeah. If you talk about it or not, but I missing the data thing. I think it's kind of cool a little bit where he's like, he thought, I guess he thought the people in data world would act like, maybe he thought they'd act like the real personalities. They did, but then maybe they totally, people with their data world, actually ROXAS, the people were totally different than they might have been in the real world.
Mm-hmm.
He said, I thought they would act the way I programmed them to, but I was wrong.
Mm-hmm. Common programming issue. Things don't work the way you want them to.
I guess it's somebody called the droid effect one time, giving droids a heart.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so if you say anything you want to say about Diz / ANSEM the Wise.
No, I'm good. I said a bit while you were getting water.
But let's go on then to ISIS / SAIX.
Mm-hmm. I feel like his type A personality worked really well with being a nobody.
What's type A personality?
Like the planner, the I only know that. Let me just look it up. Let me just give you a type A personality. Let me give you a more specific. High achievement. Please stop loading ads. Self-control, motivation to achieve results, competitiveness, multitasking skills. They're also impatient, aggressive, and hostile.
And so what about this? What's the loading ad personality?
What's the what?
You said stop loading ads. Is that personality?
Oh no, I'm sorry. That was the website I was at. They kept loading ads. Which I feel like a lot of those things do describe SAIX. He's very quick to anger, goes into this big rage mode, and otherwise he's very meticulous and keeps things close.
Who do you think the true second in command was? Was it him or was it XIGBAR?
Hard to say, because I think initially it was XIGBAR, right? But then, this young go-getter comes into the organization and works his way up. I think it later on for Xemnas became SAIX.
Of course, later on we also learn later on that XIGBAR has his own thing doing. He's behind the scene thing.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry.
That's been going on for like, I know, hundreds, thousands of years. I don't know how long it's been since those days. He has his own background plan this whole time. Of course, then again, so does SAIX.
True.
He has his own. What happened to that? What happened to that girl that we used to know and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah.
Yeah, I think by the time 358 is happening, SAIX is a higher rank than hang on. SAIX is a higher rank than XIGBAR is, because SAIX is giving him jobs to do also.
Yeah.
But
I don't think XIGBAR cares at that point.
Yeah. It could also just be like a responsibility. Doesn't mean he's a higher rank. But then they also kind of, Vexen implies ranks are based on the number they have, but that's not how that works. That's just chronological. So
yeah, because I thought I guess I think it was how big the throne is how much job they've done or the position. The lower thrones or lower people, and the higher thrones or higher people.
Yeah, I think that could be it could be the height of the throne is your rank level, but then that would imply I think SAIX. No, I actually think the height of the throne is when you join because since they're all over the place, but if you kind of like connect them, I don't know. Maybe it is ranking, but that also puts Zaldan really high.
So I thought it was I thought the throne was how much they've done for the organization.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, people that joined earlier have obviously done more.
Right. Hard to say.
What?
I'm gonna guess that by 358 SAIX is, or by like part of the way through 358, SAIX becomes above XIGBAR in his ranking. But I think he's a pretty cool character. I think he's annoying to fight in the data battles, but otherwise.
Okay. Also, the different part of this, we don't learn this part until later in Birth by Sleep and 3DS, Dream Drop Distance, that the yellow eyes, I guess I don't know, the yellow eyes mean they're evil, the yellow eyes mean they've already been possessed by XEHANORT.
Mm-hmm.
And we see SAIX has yellow eyes. I don't know, you see him already. We see it already happens in 2, but I don't know where it happened somewhere in the middle. I don't know if we see that it somewhere in days happening.
I think it's already happened in days. If I recall correctly, there isn't a moment where his eyes change, but there might be, and I'm just not very perceptive. But I think he's been XEHANORTed for a while before 358 chain and 2.
Yeah, and we see it. We'll get to him a little bit later, but no, we'll get to the XIGBAR later when we get to him. I don't want to bring him up yet. So overall, do you think he has a character growth, or is he the same throughout the series?
He's actually very consistent, I would say. His only real deviation happens towards the end of 3, where he's beaten, where he talks about how, like, you left me for them, and it made him jealous, and so he kind of like leaned into being evil. But otherwise, I don't know. He just feels consistent.
I think there's, I don't know, it was a rumor or something, or just whatever. People are saying that during that fight, he's trying to give hints to XION, get her back, bring her back by mentioning ROXAS and AXEL's name.
Mm.
And you notice that, I guess more in the rewind, I guess, but her reaction. But I don't know if he's doing that on purpose or just it's a byproduct what he's doing.
It could be on purpose, but he's definitely not on the good guy's side. So I don't know why he would be like intentionally trying to revive XION. He doesn't like her.
Well, that was obviously that was before when he was still a pure nobody, but now he's been he's been somebody again and turned back again. So maybe he's a different person. Maybe the post KH2 nobodies are different than the original nobodies.
Maybe. You could argue he's doing it. I would say he's doing it for 2 possible reasons. If we're agreeing the theory is true, I would say he would be doing it for 2 possible reasons. Reason 1, he wants to beat the shit out of XION for taking AXEL away, as he does ROXAS also, but XION's the only available one as far as I think in that moment, until ROXAS does show up. And then, or number 2, he actually does still care about AXEL and is trying to help him get his friend back.
I like to think the second one. I like to think he's seeing the he did I don't say a 360 or 180, but I like to think he had a growth moment like Diz did.
Mm-hmm.
Like this is not just a puppet. This is a person.
Yeah, he's seeing the error of his ways, but he's in too deep, so he's trying to do it subtly instead. Behind the scenes. I can see that.
Now to the original boss, the first boss of the organization, XENMAS.
Second boss, but yeah.
Second boss?
Marluxia happens first, but we'll get to him later.
Oh yeah, I don't know if he's not technically a boss. He's the boss of the castle, not the whole organization, though.
Wow, but he's still an organization.
Yeah.
Boss. Actually, XEHANORT is the last organization boss. Oh, did you just mean he was the boss?
Just the boss.
Oh, you meant he was the first. He was the first boss of the organization until Master Zane. You meant okay,
yeah.
story. Yeah. All right. I see where I messed up. Yes.
I mentioned this a little bit. We talked about ANSEM, but now, like I think a lot of his lines, remind me of TERRA. He says, "I took my friends for granted." I think that's TERRA from talking. He took AQUA and VENTUS for granted, and that came out of the TERRA parts. And that came out of him a little bit. It's like, and now I'm all alone. I'm miserable, and that's what hearts are. It's miserable.
Yeah. So I think. Okay. So here's a weird thing. There's 4 aspects to a somebody in this series: body, mind, heart, and will. And so I'm trying to figure out what of TERRA XEHANORT has, because we know his will is in his armor. We know his heart is with ANSEM as the guardian. So that would imply XEHANORT has his body and his mind. And we do get glimpses of that. We see that happening when he goes to visit the armor in that really, 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 really long walking down the spiral staircase scene.
That's only the final mix or Japanese part.
That's the final mix one. We also see it in the 358 original cutscenes, not in the they cut this out for some reason, but in the original cutscenes, he makes reference to VENTUS. XEHANORT makes reference to VENTUS when ROXAS falls asleep for like a 28-day period. He goes, "It looks like sleep has taken you yet again," in reference to VENTUS, implying that TERRA is still in there. But then they take it out for the 1.5 for some reason. I don't know. Well, the updated cutscenes don't get to reference VENTUS, I guess.
Yeah, fast. We forgot about that. We forgot about that during Axel's thing. We talked again during VENTUS, but originally we thought that they had no idea who. We thought the ROXAS VENTUS connection no one knew about, but then in 3 the Axel was like I can't believe it. Like I knew this guy. We used to know him as a kid, but then he disappeared. All of a sudden, here comes ROXAS. He looks just like the guy I used to know. So we know that they knew the connection. We didn't know. I guess originally we thought maybe they didn't were paying attention. Maybe they didn't notice. But I guess at least for Axel, maybe the other ones noticed too. But at least for him, we know he noticed the similarities.
Yeah, maybe he hadn't. It's possible that because he only met VENTUS for like an afternoon, so it's possible he had an inkling he recognized him, but not until he saw VENTUS. He was like, "Oh, that's why." Okay, he put it together. That's just something to think about.
Yeah, but I think, but you said that in the days one, maybe they did know. Maybe XEHANORT did know.
XEHANORT definitely knew. XEHANORT knew the whole time. But I like XEHANORT. I think XEHANORT is a cool boss. final boss and like leader of the organization, boss both ways.
One of the hardest final bosses I fought so far, like with the laser attacks at the end.
The laser attack's rough. I remember just like on my controller when I was younger.
Yeah.
Now I just let Riku die and move on with my day. Just press X. Yeah, screw this guy. I don't love. All right, this is just me. I don't love the laser hand thing. I don't love that it's just like Star Wars. Like it's just the lightsabers, but he makes them with energy. That's all right, sure.
He's Count Dooku. Talking to Anson the White again, Count Dooku. But yeah, he's like dual wielding.
Yeah, which is ironic because don't they have the same voice actor? Or I guess Count Dooku in the movies was just an actor.
Well, yeah, they're both Chris Ransom. They're both Chris Ransom. Yeah. Count Dooku and Ansem are both played by Chris. Diz and the White are both played by, at least originally, played by Christopher Duke.
Christopher Lee.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The old the former Dracula. Yeah. Do you think Xemnas has any growth?
Hard to say. I think Xemnas is. I don't know. It's weird because they do this thing at the end of 3 where everyone has like their own little line. They all say something interesting, and I don't know. I feel like Xemnas is always just this one-track mind about getting Kingdom Hearts, and then after that, it's just this one-track mind about taking over Sora, and then after that, it's just this one-track mind about defeating the Guardians of Light. I don't even feel like Xemnas gets to be like I think he has a pretty flat arc. If that,
yeah, I think it's the same. Even in 3, at the end of 3, he's still mentioning his old friends. He's still mentioning that he let down. I think more of him than TERRANORT. TERRANORT's just all more taken over by ANSEM. They are at the point, but I think Xemnas has more of, I'll say maybe memories or something of Terra, because he's always bringing back to I let my friends down, and now look at me. Even in the final battle, he's mentioning them. Even though by this point he knows they're back because he's seen them fight. He's seen that Terra. He's seen that both AQUA and Ventus have returned. They have come back, but I guess his mind's still stuck in the past, maybe.
Could be. I think part of that is because there's more Terra in Xemnas than there is XEHANORT, whereas like ANSEM has more XEHANORT than he does Terra. Has more XEHANORT than he does Terra. So I feel like you get that like kind of remorse situation from Terra in Xemnas every now and again.
But since we go fast, I think. Yes, he's the next. All right, so before we get to number 14, let's go. We talked about this. Let's go over a little bit of the other organization members in general.
Yeah. So 2 is XIGBAR. We'll get to him. 3 is Xaldin. Xaldin, I wish had more to do. He's just kind of generic, not in his appearance and not in his abilities, but when you play 358 and you play 2, he's just kind of like a bad guy doing bad things.
He's just obsessed with the beast in those games, pretty much.
And
then
like,
and BBS, he's just a bodyguard.
Yeah, he doesn't even have a personality in Birth by Sleep. is I think the subtext is he's kind of like a manipulator. He's like soft spoken and quick to anger, but a manipulator or something. I don't know. I don't have a lot about Zaldin.
Of all, I would say of all of them, he's the one that I think he's the one who quickly believes the no heart lie.
Mm-hmm.
Like he's the first one to believe it, or he's the one that embraces it, fully embraces it or not.
Yeah, I think he wants to believe it. I think he wants to be like, yeah, no, now I can do whatever dark shit I want to do. Next up, I think number 4 is Lexius.
No, Vexen.
Is it Vexen? Is it Vexen? Vexen is, I like Vexen. I think Vexen's an underutilized character. I always think if you're going to have a scientist smart character, you should use them to kind of like explain aspects of the world, and they do not do that with Vexen. And when he tries to, they kill him.
Yeah.
And like, because like I had this thought, like, what if Vexen at one point was showing Roxas how like nobody's worked and how like Heartless worked, and it'd be like a really interesting way you could like build on his character for Vexen, but they never do that. Yeah, he's just kind of a dick.
Yeah, his personality and Days, the one that we see him as like, okay, what you see here? No, you're doing this wrong, Roxas. You're supposed to think of your brain, not your eyes. Like, yeah. Roads. Why is the roads here? Tram. Duh, Roxas. Come on. You think, Roxas. Think. Roxas is like, I'm 5 days old. What do you expect from me?
Yeah. Bro, I'm not even 1 yet. Yeah, he's just kind of like, I guess he has a personality. He's just sort of like a smart dude who thinks everyone should be at his level, and they're not.
I think we see him a little bit in Birth by Sleep too. When he's still Evan, he's like you see his both scientific mind and his evil, his heart's full devoid of darkness. Interesting. I could use experiment about that.
Mm-hmm.
Then think about we're up to him. Oh my god, worried. He's like, ooh, data.
Yeah,
neat.
I've been talking about one-track minds a couple times in this. Vexen has the one-trackiest mind of all of them. Who's next? Is it Zexion or Lexius?
Lexius, the buff guy.
Yeah, Lexius is my favorite, but only because of 358. I like to play as him in the extra section, the multiplayer section. I just like that he's a powerhouse. That's just fun. But he really is just like not he's just a quiet dude.
He gets the development of all of them, I think, because he has only one big appearance in Chain, and he gets one shot by RIKU ANSEM. That's boom. And then and then Days, he's like, his appearance is, here's how you do a limit break. Have death. Go Roxas. Do your thing.
Which is so funny to me. I love that scene where he just all right, go ahead. But yeah, outside of that, he's really not much of a character, which kind of sucks. I feel like they could do more with all the organization members, but they just couldn't. Like not that they couldn't, but like they ended up not, and they didn't. So like we just kind of have like these like ironically shells of characters, which works. It works on a metatextual level.
And then the next one is we go to his I guess his partner a little bit, who's the exact opposite. Like Lexius is all muscle and very little magic, while next one, Zexion is like pure magic and just very little physical strength.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he uses a book. He's a book guy. I feel like Zexion of all of them has the most character, because he's like sarcastic. He's always trying to, like, I feel like in a lot of stuff he's trying to learn things, but also like in a background way keep his nose down and kind of like, I don't know how to explain it, but I feel like he has the most character of all of them.
Yeah.
All of these first few, at least.
I also think besides we see a little bit of growth and we see a little bit of growth of AXEL and SAIX and between Vice B and later on, but I think he has the most growth because he's a little baby almost, little tiny kid, and Vice C, and you see he's definitely older and Basin too.
Yeah, and then
everyone else was already adult and they became nobodies, I think.
Yeah. And Nomura at one point said that nobodies don't age. That Zexion proves that's a lie. It just, sorry, they do. They absolutely do.
Yeah.
We talked about AXEL, who I think is next, and then SAIX. There's Demix.
Next is the guitar player.
Demix, yeah.
Yeah.
Demix is interesting. His whole bit is that he's lazy. Yeah, sure, I'll roll with it.
But also, he's the number 2 K2 boss. I was glad to have cyclical cutscenes in that fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. He was rough, I guess.
Until I mastered how to kill the water forms, because even himself, even though himself might be easy, you don't do it in the time limit. Battle over, do it again.
Mm-hmm. I guess he's a really hard boss for a lot of people, and because you can't just press X to win with him, you have to like strategize, and the game has only taught you up to that point, press X to win.
Yeah, more so during the data fight, because I think you can use the cheat. I'm sure you can even use the cheat used in the first fight to beat him, because I think that works in the data fight.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like, I think he's one that, what's it called? No, don't judge the book by a cover, because he may look weak, but he definitely kick your butt if you're not paying attention.
I agree with that.
Then there's the gambler.
Yeah, LUXU. LUXU's pretty cool. I think outside of the first 8, when you got these back group, I think LUXU is one who gets a pretty good amount of character. They're all very one note, but like he's interesting at least.
Yeah, we mainly in both games we mainly see his thing in Pirates in 2 and 3. He's a pirate boss. But also, mention it later, I guess, when we come up with the other 2 later. But the one scene, I think it's in 3. I don't think it's 3. I think it's in 3 where he's like, we know of 12 and 13's background from but all of a sudden these like all 4 of you have Keyblade passed, and we know of 2 of them, but we still don't know about LUXU and Demix.
Yeah,
we haven't seen them at all in the past, at least yet.
Right. Assumedly they're in Missing Link, but it seems a lot like LUXU's at least in has something to do with Yozora. So
yeah, I think all of them I'm talking about later. The next set, when her and NAMINE, I don't know who has sadder background story, who's a sadder character.
I think XION.
Yeah, true.
I think XION. At least you get more time to feel for her, I think, is part of the reason. With NAMINE, you don't really get a lot of time, and she's effectively the bad guy, so you're kind of like, well, screw you also.
Yeah, but like, she's more of, I think we see more of XION's tragedy, but we're told more of NAMINE's.
Yeah. And I feel like XION also, you like, because of the way 358 is set up, you're playing as ROXAS, and the whole goal, like the way that Kingdom Hearts is very good at making you feel what the characters feel. I'm going to say that first and foremost. I've always enjoyed that about the games. And you feel as Roxas, when you're playing as him, you want to get this mission done so you can go hang out with your friends. And you want to see what happens in the story. You want to see what happens next. You want to see how him and Roxas and Axel and XION all get together and do stuff. And it's like really neat to watch as you play. And I think, there's some parts where Roxas has to help XION because she loses her Keyblade. So you get this deeper attachment to XION because, like, not only does Roxas want to help her, you as a player want to help her. You want to help Roxas's friend because you like Roxas and you like her.
Yeah.
And then so towards the end, also with other stuff, you see her trying to devolve because of RIKU and this and that. And when you get to the end and you have to fight her, it kind of sucks. And then it gets sad after that.
That's also a thing. I think XION's a thing, unlike Roxas, I think XION's a different story between playing 2 first, then Days, and Days first, then 2. Because if you play 2 first, then then Days, you kind of, I don't say her ending, but she's not around in 2 at all.
Mm-hmm.
Or Chains, you don't see her in Chains, obviously, you don't see her in 2.
Right.
But so like that could be around very long. It's signed somewhere, but if you play Days first, then 2, then you don't know yet. You don't know that she's going to be massively murdered by her best friend.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, it's like, I don't know what it is. I don't. It's because that line, the kind of line is both cute and also really childlike. It's like you're dying. Who else will I have ice cream with? That line, Roxas. I don't know if it's because it's all he knows how his friendship works, or just because the writers are bad.
I will tell you, it is because that's how he thinks friendship works. And there's a line on day like 12 where Hayner, Pence, and Olette run past him and Axel. And Roxas goes, "Why are they making those ha-ha sounds?" And Axel goes, "Because that's what friends do." And he goes, "Okay, what else do friends do?" And he goes, "They laugh about stupid stuff, and they eat ice cream together, and they hang out." And he goes, "So are we friends?" And he's like, "Yeah, let's go eat ice cream." And that's the whole bit. Laughing together and eating ice cream. He's a literalist. He takes that literally. So you get to that line, "Who else will I have ice cream with?" It's him saying in that literalist term, like, who else am I going to do friend stuff with? No one is close enough to me to be my friend to do these things I think friends do. Is it a great line? No. But that's like the background of it.
Then we see his first. I think I don't know if we see him cry in 2, but we see definitely he has tears. He has emotions. We see the first line of emotions in Roxas. The other nobodies during this part. We see either he's got his heart back or he's always had his heart.
Mm-hmm. I think the background of it is that he has Ventus's heart in him, but it kind of becomes its own thing. I don't really remember that aspect of it, but they can regrow hearts. That's something that's revealed in Dream Drop, I believe.
Yeah. Also, I have my own theory about this before they said that. That the human nobodies, besides XION, obviously, like how most of the nobodies are either the dust or the different boss, like samurais, whatever, and the organization nobodies are people things. My original theory about that was because those nobodies were created by the Keyblade, stabbing of the Keyblade. Roxas and SORA was stabbed, Xemnas stabbed, TERRANORT, Xemnas stabbed the other ones. We see that in Days at the end of Rechain. We see him we see him stabbing XIGBAR or BRAIG. I thought maybe because they were stabbed, maybe a little bit of the heart was left in to begin with. That's why they kept the human shapes. Because I always thought the heart shaped the nobody. And since part of their somebody's heart was left in the nobody, they took human shape.
That's a pretty cool theory. like I don't know if they ever get they offhandedly say that like you know, if you have a strong heart, you become an organization nobody, right? You retain a bit of yourself, but it makes a lot more sense. And so far, to my knowledge, has only happened by being stabbed. We don't know how Axel and SAIX died, and we don't know how Demix, Marluxia, Larxene, and LUXU died. But we know how the first 7 died, and we know how ROXAS died. Or first 6.
No, 8 because at the end of Coded, Recoded, we see Axel and SAIX were both in the body form of the original 6. They are both all the pile of bodies.
That's right. They were in that room. So yeah. But we don't know if they got stabbed, but it is assumed. It can be easily assumed because they were in the same room.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we see different things. And you see more like days, you know, the NAMINE's line. He says, "Do you know who I am?" And she's like, "You're not SORA and you're not ROXAS. You're KAIRI as SORA remembers her."
Mm-hmm.
Which means, I guess, you go back when NAMINE was removing KAIRI from SORA's heart and replacing her and replacing herself in her place, the memories that she stole from SORA, even at that point, were going into XION.
Mm-hmm. Yes, which is kind of neat.
And the whole thing, when RIKU and Mickey were meeting, he's like, they've stolen what's most important to SORA, his memories of KAIRI.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think at that point they were still going for the KAIRI is his light angle, which I don't know if they ever really dropped, but yeah.
It's like, you know, and that's why, I guess, at least to ROXAS, why XION looked like she did.
Mm-hmm.
But everyone else, you know, she looked different, I guess. And I think in the journal entries or the data entries, at first, I guess, Axel thought she looked like NAMINE a bit, you know, and SAIX sees her a blank face for the longest time, and for some, and you know, later that XIGBAR sees her as VENTUS.
Mm-hmm.
And
yeah, I feel like if you see XION, you know, if you don't think she's a person, you see a puppet. But if you think she's a person, you see the connected part of SORA's heart that most resonates with you. So XIGBAR would see VENTUS, although they only meet for like 5 minutes. So it's a little weird. Axel sees NAMINE because that's the part that he's most connected with. And then later, when she has a lot more of SORA's memories, ROXAS ends up seeing SORA instead. Which I think in that case, she's like forming, instead of it being kind of like you see what you want to see. It's like she's forming based off the memories inside her.
There's a scene, you know, I guess, I think it was during near the end where they were, I think they were in Agrabah. You get almost, they're gonna, like, are they gonna kiss moment there? They're looking at each other a little bit. I forget when it was, but yeah, they're staring at each other.
I'm trying to remember that scene. I'm not sure I remember.
Maybe I'll find it. I'll forward it to you. But
okay.
But yeah, then we get the thing, because you know, because of the SORA KAIRI connection. Does ROXAS see on this as a friend, or is he getting like teenage feelings?
I think
a girl his same age.
Yeah, I think in this case, at least in the context of 358. It's a friendship. It's just a really strong friendship. But I think that's the idea, even with the connections to Sora and KAIRI, because I think when you compare it to 2, it's a lot more. It makes a lot more sense that like the subtext says ROXAS plus NAMINE love interest versus ROXAS plus XION friends. If that makes sense, like the
a little bit
way that they present the characters and their relationships, because KAIRI and NAMINE are much closer than XION and KAIRI are.
Like personality wise.
No, like in terms of like who they are,
their emotions.
No, like XION, like literally who they are. XION is the memory of KAIRI from SORA, whereas NAMINE is a actual piece of KAIRI.
Yeah.
So
like NAMINE says, your KAIRI as SORA remembers her.
Mm-hmm. So it's XION's not even KAIRI. XION is just a memory from SORA, whereas NAMINE is the shadow of KAIRI. She is a part of KAIRI in that way. So I think the subtext, if you say SORA plus KAIRI, the subtext then also says ROXAS plus NAMINE in the love angle.
Do you think, at least in this picture right here, for short, does KAIRI look a little bit more like so does he look a little bit more like KAIRI than NAMINE does?
Yeah. Well, I think with this picture, for instance, she has KAIRI's hair. She has Kingdom Hearts 1 KAIRI's hair. It's just black. Whereas NAMINE, I think, kind of has her own hair, or maybe has Kingdom Hearts 2 KAIRI's hair, but it's blonde. So it's kind of like hard to say.
I think between Chain and 2, both their hairs grew a little bit. Both KAIRI and NAMINE's hair grew a bit, I think.
Mm-hmm. So I'm thinking NAMINE looks less like KAIRI because of the hair. Because if, like, for instance, if you take ROXAS or VENTUS and SORA, they have the same face. The hair is just different. Or Xemnas and TERRA, they have the same face. Their hair and in that case also skin is just different. So I think for NAMINE, KAIRI, and XION, they all have the same face, just with different hair.
But yeah. I still cry when I watch the XION death scene.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I used to cry, but like it's still one of my top saddest moments in fictional history.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I it depends on my mood. Sometimes I'll cry for that, and sometimes I'll laugh for that, because I also get caught up in the how dumb the line is. But what has consistently got me to cry every single time is the hug in Kingdom Hearts 3, where all three of them, AXEL, XION, and ROXAS, hug each other. That part gets me every time now.
Yeah. I also cry, going back, I also cry a little bit at the end of KAIRI when KAIRI's crying when she draws the fruit. When she sees the picture that Sora drew, and she drew her own arm giving her fruit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That's cute.
Yeah, I think I mentioned this on our previous signs. Like 2 is the only game that doesn't have a semi-sad ending.
Yeah, I think 2 is the only one with a relatively happy ending.
Because you think, NAMINE and ROXAS are back together with their original personalities. All good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because
they seem happy, but you don't think about the meet people again. Like, you think it's all thing, but the other ones have deliberately sad endings.
Mm-hmm. 358 has a deliberately sad ending. Birth by Sleep has a deliberately sad ending. Chain has like a bittersweet ending.
Yeah, I think the SORA ending is a little bit bittersweet. The ROXAS, not the ROXAS, the RIKU ending is what, like, whatever,
Yeah, it's like, it's not sad, but it's not happy. It just is. I don't really have an emotion about it.
Yeah, unlike the SORA ending, which he's gonna forget NAMINE at the end of this.
Definitely a bittersweet one, if not sad. Kingdom Hearts 1 is also, I would say, bittersweet, but in a different way, because it's like happy, we won, we did it, but then also Sora
But
and Kairi are separated.
all three of them are separated. They're all three.
Right.
And 3, obviously, you know, both 3 and Remind, you know, in the 3, you know, oh, Kairi's gone. like I gotta bring her back. And in the Remind, Sora's gone.
Yeah. And like, so that's like those, a lot of these Kingdom Hearts games are either sad or tangentially sad. I think most of them can follow one of two categories.
Yeah. So yeah. Okay. If you could do anything to if you could, or would you change Xion's storyline at all, or keep it the same?
Nope, keep it the same. Just mostly the same. Any changes to it would just be, like, in my personal opinion, just things to, like, I would, like, it wouldn't be about Xion as so much as the game, like 358. Okay. Like, I would take out, like, all the sleeping. Why the hell are we doing all this sleeping?
Now, a question for you: do you think she wasn't thought about till later, or you think they had the idea of Xion in 2?
Normally I'm pretty good at kind of like having an opinion on when they decide to do a thing, because you can kind of tell with context clues, but Xion is a really left field one for me.
Yeah.
Because you can't really tell when Nomura had the idea.
Yeah. No, if anything, maybe, you know, at least for people that, more for people that played after they played they played Days and they go back to 2, maybe we have speak a little bit clues about Xion and they forgot, you know, she's forgotten about when those members are. Maybe add a little. I would, if I could, I would add little subtle things about Xion that we don't know. Playing 2 originally, we don't know what's this about. You know, once we play Days, we're like, oh,
that'd be cool. Just have little, like, Easter eggs for Xion.
Like I said, so you played 2 first, we have no idea what's this about. Yeah, like I said, I'm glad she got happy ending in 3. Now we gotta give her and nominate her own game.
Yeah.
Or all 3 have a girls game. We have a KAIRI nominates Xion their own game. Like, obviously AQUA got her own game already in her own storyline Days and BBS. You know, you gotta give the 3 girls
give them something to do.
Yeah, their own. Yeah, because I don't count Melody of Memories as a KAIRI game. It's just
no, it's really not. It's I feel like it would be really cool if they did a, like, short game, like a I don't know, just a really short game, or maybe a long game. I don't care. Where AQUA is running the Mark of Mastery for Xion, KAIRI, and NAMINE. Well, you'd have to establish NAMINE having a Keyblade, but that's neither here nor there. Mostly I'm just saying, as a girls game, that'd be really cool. That would be a great way to incorporate all of them.
Yes, we know that at the end of Mill Memories, we know that KAIRI goes like, I want to be trained by AQUA.
Right. So we already have a connection there. Also, I'm a little mad, right? At the end of I think it's Remind, they show 3 different plot lines that are going to happen. They show KAIRI going to get her memories tested, which happens to be Melody of Memory. They show Riku going to talk to the fairy godmother, which happens to be 4. You know, the plot line of that ends up being 4. And then they show the Birth by Sleep trio will going into the Realm of Darkness, and I don't have that fucking game yet. Give me Birth by Sleep 3, god damn it.
Yeah.
Just a little rant for you.
And also, I like Xion in the 3.
Yeah, I like the Yeah, it's nice.
Well, on this platter or whatever, but yeah. All right, next, Ventus.
Ventus.
So I think I think till the end, I think you see him as more as Roxas, but more innocent than Roxas is. He's more happy personality. Roxas always seemed more gloomy, goth like person.
Mm-hmm. This is the rainbow, and Roxas is the goth.
Yeah. Later on, we find out that he also has a past.
Mm-hmm.
He's been around since forever.
Mm-hmm. I feel like Ventus. The fun thing about Ventus is that he's sort of a SORA stand-in almost. Like that's intentional, but also the way he like interacts in Birth by Sleep. He's like very clearly the one who connects to people. Like TERRA sort of connects to people, AQUA sort of connects to people, but Ventus is the one going out, like really trying to help. I would say more than the others, and meeting more people along the way.
He's more excited to do it, I guess. To both, I guess, to both TERRA and AQUA, this is a job. This is a job. They're doing something. Orders their job. Find Master XEHANORT. Find TERRA. Keep an eye on TERRA and bring Ventus back. But for them, they call me Ven. He's like, ooh, since he's I don't say rebelling, but he's on his own. He's not following orders, just go out doing this stuff. Because I'll say more childlike, but definitely more open. He's more open.
He's more optimistic too about this whole scenario. Yeah, I would agree with you with being more childlike. Like for instance, in Cinderella, his whole Castle of Dreams world, his whole bit is helping Cinderella make the pink dress that the stepmother and stepsisters will eventually destroy. That's his whole bit. In TERRA's version of that, the dress just got destroyed, and so he takes her to the ball. And I don't really, that scene is weird, and it seems like he's just kind of doing it because he's actually trying to find, Master XEHANORT or the Unversed. He's not really trying to connect with Cinderella. And then when in AQUA's story, she finishes off the story by helping Jacques unlock Cinderella's room, which is dumb because she has a Keyblade, but whatever. And then stopping the I don't know, the helper guy with the glass slipper from leaving, but she doesn't really connect with anybody outside of Jacques, maybe, whereas Ventus is like connecting with everybody. I don't know, it's not a great example, but Ventus is trying to do good stuff.
Yes, because
for good reasons.
Wasn't really until the Snow White world that we see. I guess we see how young Snow White really is. Because she's sent it to her about the same size. All the other princesses, besides Alice, was weird, and KAIRI are all almost adults. They're tall.
They're so tall.
I think maybe the youngest. I don't know how. I think that they say that. I think people say that Jasmine is like 16 or something. Or I don't know how that works in accurate, but I think they say that she's 16. But everyone, but Snow White, she can see she's almost a little kid a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know how old Snow White is, but I know Alice is the youngest at like 5 or 6. She is fully a child.
You can even see even with 14-year-old Sora, you can see that she's small, a little taller.
Yeah.
But yeah, like.
And I like Ventus. I think Ventus is cool.
Yeah. I think he's the one that meets the most. Obviously, we see it later. He's the one that meets the most of the future organization members.
Yeah.
He meets the 2 guards. XIGBAR not XIGBAR.
He does.
Zaldan and Alexius.
Yeah, he meets.
Yeah, I guess he does. He meets Vexen and
Ienzo.
Ienzo or Evan and Enzo. He meets them the thing, and he meets Isa and Lee.
Mm-hmm. And then he meets BRAIG earlier or later in the game. So he literally meets the original members, except for, well, I guess he also knows TERRA. So yeah.
So I guess it goes back. It's cool that you go back. Yeah. Huh.
Mm-hmm. But then he probably he also knows Marluxia and Larxene from
his Dandelion days.
Yeah, Union Cross.
So I guess really the only one his path next to would be would be Demiex and not Zig. God, names again. 9 and 10.
Yeah.
Luxord and Demiex.
Yeah, their names are wild.
That we don't know his former connection to.
Mm.
Also, no. Okay, we'll talk about that more in the next character, because both of them have similar thing going on to them, but for different reasons.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be AQUA.
I feel like AQUA gets the most agency in all the games, and I'm for it. I think it's great. I think she could do more. Well, no, she gets her agency. So, yeah.
What do you think? Some people say that AQUA's more of an older teenager, like in the 16, 17 range. Other people say she's in her 20s already.
I don't know where she is, because I think TERRA is supposed to be 18, and I could see AQUA being in her 20s, but I could also see her being 17, 18. It's hard to... Let me see if the wiki says anything about that. They don't normally put in ages necessarily.
Yeah, we know that the main cast is 14 and 15. Then they go up. In the original game, KAIRI and SORA both 14, Riku's 15. And later on, 15 and 16.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we don't... It doesn't really say. Let me just look it up. How old is AQUA? Wait, that's the wrong show. Kingdom Hearts. How old is AQUA? Around 18 to 20.
Yeah. I think.
Younger than TERRA, but older than Ventus.
Because I think it's weird. Some people, depending on how old she is, it makes a difference. Because some people pairing. Some people pair her with TERRA. Other people pair her with Ventus. But if she's already 20s, that pairing doesn't work very well.
No. It always made more sense to me anyway that she would be more at TERRA's age, because in the game, Master XEHANORT brings Ventus. Ventus is the odd one out the whole time. It would make sense that ERAQUS would try to get two pupils around the same age so that they could train together and stuff.
It's weird. It's weird because that I guess it's the only one where that'll be only depending on how old she is, that'll be the only one where the air and the water aren't kind of connected to the trio. Because SORA and KAIRI, we see the little bit of, we see it being where AQUA does the KAIRI thing looking over Ventus's / SORA's head. He wakes up in his dream.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
Yeah, that is interesting. They don't have that connection. The air and the water don't. I agree with you. Go ahead.
Okay, now talk about Ventus 4. Ventus doesn't age. I guess. Why Ventus age? But I guess he's in a coma because he's in a coma. His body's an age, obviously. But since my theory about like Aqua doesn't age because technically she's only in her mind she's only in the realm of darkness for maybe a year at most, maybe a little bit. But even though time applies differently out in the real world, she's been gone for 10, 15 years, give or take. But in her mind, it's only been maybe a year at the most, maybe. I don't know how time flies there.
No,
I
think
she looks that much older when she returns in 3.
Yeah, I think the way that it's supposed to work, because she says it twice or maybe even 3 times in point 2, is that there's no time in the realm of darkness, so she doesn't age. There's no time to age her there at all. And I think Castle Oblivion exists in darkness as well, which is the reason Ventus doesn't age. Let me check Castle Oblivion. Because I know, it also might sit on the realm between half and dark, kind of like Traverse Town does. So it could be like Ventus was in the dark half and just didn't age.
Like those two make sense. Those two make sense of why they didn't age a bit, both. But the next one, I don't know why he did. He's been out for a long time. I don't know why he never aged at all.
Which one?
TERRA.
Oh, the next one, yeah, TERRA.
But yeah, we'll get to him later. But yeah. Now, AQUA, I think during her storyline, so I guess at the end, I guess it's all about her. It's all about she's obedient. It's like, gotta do this. Gotta stop the darkness. Gotta bring back Ventus. Gotta keep an eye on TERRA. She's like, I'm doing this because I need to do this. I guess he's a soul. At least until I guess you see her more as a soldier. This
AQUA.
Yeah, following orders.
Yeah, I can kind of see that. I kind of feel like she's. Yeah, it's weird because her whole point in Birth by Sleep is to, keep an eye on TERRA for ERAQUS, and then bring Ven back. So she's sort of just doing, what she's told. So I could see that she's just being the good little soldier.
Yeah, they reunite, and he's just like, "Go home, then. I got other stuff to do."
I think there's also an implication that she doesn't think Ven can handle like combat or anything. Like, because not only is she supposed to take him home, but during the Mark of Mastery, she's like, when things go wrong with the dark orbs or whatever, she's like, Ven, go to your room. She's like, sort of this like trying to protect him, but also thinking very poorly of him, in his abilities at least. So I think there's like some subtext with that she doesn't think he's ready.
Yeah, I think you see more of her emotions when Ven goes down and he sees Ven helpless, later. And when Ven comes back and she's like, I don't say super happy, but you see her emotion that she's so happy that Ven's awake again. When they both reunite in 3.
Yeah.
And it was because she cared about Ven, obviously, or she's been alone for so long that's a friend. She sees her friend from so long ago, like, oh my God, someone I know.
Probably both.
Yeah. I think, is he the one that has the least character growth of the 3, or the
AQUA?
Yeah, or the most character growth, or just neutral, or
No, she has I would say she has a negative character arc, at least starting at 0.2 or fragmentary passage or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
She's pretty flat in Birth by Sleep, and then I would say it starts to become a negative character arc up until she's rescued in 3.
Yeah. All right, let's go then to the third trio, TERRA.
TERRA.
Who, as I said earlier, I have no idea why he didn't. Is it because he was in the Guardian? He didn't age. His body didn't age, but his body was still Xemnas or Terranort's body. So he obviously that body aged in those 10 years.
Right. I think it's because like, so Xemnas ages, right? Xemnas got older. Xemnas is like, it looks like he's like 30 something or other. The reason TERRA gets his old body back is because he's fighting against TERRANORT that is using his old body. So it's not that his body didn't age, it's that he gets effectively a new body that was his age 10 years ago or 12 years by that game.
So I guess, depending on how the time traveling, and if the TERRANORT becoming in 3 it was from replica body, or that it was his body.
I believe they say that TERRANORT's a replica body. Let me see. Is TERRANORT a replica? Yeah, that's not who I'm saying. Okay, TERRANORT. Oh, this is Cage Insider. That's going to be way too much. Okay. Were they all using replica bodies? Let's see, Reddit. TERRANORT. Technically, no. When the ANSEM, Seeker of Darkness, and Xemnas were defeated, both Xehanort and TERRA reformed separate from each other. This is TERRA's actual body, but it couldn't reform, I believe, because TERRA's heart was still possessed by Xehanort as the Guardian. It's a vessel which is filled with TERRANORT's heart. Okay, so I guess no, that was not that. It was not a replica, but instead it reformed the body that it had when initially, I guess. But that doesn't happen with Zexion. Like, yeah. Zexion doesn't get his kid body back, so that's weird.
That's the thing I thought was really cool. You know how ANSEM Wide is kind of like the king of the world. Was, I guess, the king of Radiant Garden, almost the ruler. Mm-hmm. It's funny, and I guess he's raising not Evan. It's his name. Number 6 as his son. He almost adopt the son, right?
Yeah.
But it's funny. If he's the ruler, I thought, and KAIRI's a princess, and maybe no, KAIRI's technically, maybe KAIRI is ANSEM the Wise's granddaughter.
Could be,
because you see she grows up. She grows up in the castle almost. She's in the library.
That's true. Grandmother. She could be related to him in some way because of her grandmother.
Yeah, maybe his grandmother is okay. Maybe her grandmother is ANSEM's wife, and which if that was true, that would make number 6 her uncle.
That's weird. That's weird to think about.
All right, well, let's speed through so these more than. All right. So you want to end this now then? So you have to go in 20 minutes, or you want to just speed run through this?
Let's speed run through it. I want to try to get as much of it done as we can.
Right. Master ERAQUS. Square backwards.
Square backwards. Is it backwards? No, it's anagrammed, but it is square.
the Jedi Mark Hamill voice with his one the focus. Darkness is evil. Just kill it all.
The light zealot. Have you seen? I think it was an interview with Nomura, but ERAQUS in Birth by Sleep, Master ERAQUS was voiced by Mark Hamill, and Master XEHANORT was voiced by Leonard Nimoy because it was his sort of fan fiction way of pitting Star Wars and Star Trek against each other. That's almost an exact quote. It's a paraphrase, but it is very close.
Yeah, with reference because I guess Terra is Anakin.
Yeah, honestly, yeah. A lot of this game you can chalk up to Star Wars, honestly. Of this series.
Who's your favorite? All three of them now. Who's your favorite trio? The Destiny Island trio, quote the Sea Salt trio, or the Wayfinder trio?
Sea Salt for sure.
Just
for the vibes.
Yeah. I guess there's also they had the most on-screen togetherness. I guess SORA, KAIRI, and RIKU are always separated.
They're always separated. I mean, I like AQUA, VENTUS, and TERRA. I like them. I think they're pretty great, but they don't give me the same vibes as XION and AXEL and ROXAS.
Master XEHANORT, originally played by Leonard Nimoy, later played by I forget, then finally played by
Christopher Lloyd, I believe.
Yeah, Christopher Lloyd. I almost said Lee again, but yeah. From Spock to Doc Brown.
No hate to the middle actor, but Christopher Lloyd does such a good job. And Master XEHANORT does such a good job, and both I said Master XEHANORT, didn't I? Leonard Nimoy does such a good job. Leonard Nimoy and then the second guy both died. That's why Christopher Lloyd is XEHANORT. That sucks. Cursed role.
Yeah, I think Leonard Nimoy and Christopher Lloyd's voices match better than the thing.
I like this character. I think he's pretty cool. I think it's, I don't know, like, I like his young versions too, but I think like him as the old guy with the big master plan is really fun.
Yeah. He unlike ERAQUS, he doesn't fear darkness. It's like it can be used, but I think he's still using it for evil. He's like, oh, I can balance the light and darkness, but he's doing it in a bad way. Unlike Riku, who learns, I can do this. This is good. This is possible. Should be done, but he's doing it for good, not because to rule the world like he is.
I'm pretty sure there's also a fan theory somewhere that XEHANORT is related to Riku, because they're both from Destiny Islands and they both have the white hair, and they also look remarkably similar before XEHANORT leaves Destiny Islands.
Yeah. I said, he's more evil at the end, but you see, I traces of his goodness during the Dark Road thing at the beginning, before like what could have been. All right.
Vanitas. The Sword of Sora.
Yeah, where we, I guess the theory is he looks like Sora because the connection to his heart, just like Roxas took the form of Ventus a little bit.
I'm not sure that's a theory. I think that's just what happened, as I understand it.
Yeah, but also we recently thought he was the dark part of Ventus's heart, but later we find out that he was one of the 13 darknesses from a long time ago, and he possessed thing. He wasn't half of Ventus. He was always darkness. Like,
is that true?
Yeah, I think line 3, is like come back to me, like, I have always been darkness. I am darkness. Always been darkness. And then Union Cross, we learned that that a darkness has possessed Ventus way back when.
That's true. We also see that darkness in Ventus's heart. In 3, when Sora's in Remind, when Sora's diving, we see that darkness is there. But is that Vanitas? I don't know.
Might be, but yeah, if that was true, then that would mean Vanitas is the one who killed STRELITZIA. Because we know Ventus was done on his own, so
yeah.
At least that's my theory. At least
it would make more sense than Ventus doing it. Well, possessed, but I mean, I guess the possessed. I mean, it's still the same thing. Honestly, just you give it a name. That makes sense.
TERRANORT.
This is probably my favorite villain of all of them, because I just love dark versions of characters. Especially ones that like are a separate character themselves. Like Dark Riku is a possessed ANSEM, so it's not really himself. Whereas like, well, I guess this is still the same thing. Never mind.
but I think here you see more of a fight between the two personalities. And I don't see, except for one scene, Riku doesn't fight much back against his possession. But
no.
For him, he had to literally create the Guardian to get Terra out of his body.
To trap Terra. Yeah. Which I think is pretty cool.
Yeah, and we see it. And then you see the line, at the end of, I guess at the end of Coded, when he stabs XIGBAR, he's like, "Did you remember, or did you never forget who you were?" It's like, did XEHANORT, Dr. XEHANORT, was he really in the shells all this time, or was he just plain possum until he gets?
Yeah, I wonder. That is kind of a cool thing to think about.
The Master of Masters. The surfer.
He's fun.
The surfer guy, who may or may not have fun this whole thing out, like manipulating everything but in the shadows.
He's fun. I like him.
Hopefully we see more of his character development.
I'm assuming we will in 4.
Now, for people we've seen a lot of character development from, a whole bunch of stuff, LUXU / BRAIG / XIGBAR.
Yeah. He's I liked the reveal that he was LUXU. I just thought, like, he's a fun character, and it's cool to see him get to do more stuff. Now
this one, we've definitely seen him age. He has, here you see he has gray hair at the end of 3, definitely. So he's definitely aged.
Yeah.
Now, later we see that LUXU can possess somebody in the middle of their thing anytime, So, we don't know, because like he possesses brain, obviously, somewhere in the thing, but so we don't know, was he already possessing BRAIG before Master Xehanort came or after Master Xehanort came met BRAIG?
Mm-hmm.
Like when was he possessing? when did LUXU take over this guy's body?
I'm assuming here's my guess, right? Because of a character we may or may not get to, BRAGI. He possessed BRAGI and then met Master Xehanort. Then Master Xehanort gets the Keyblade. Then he has to, as BRAGI, has to find a way to stay with Master Xehanort to get the Keyblade, because that's his whole bit, is to get the Master of Master's Keyblade back. So I assume he finds XIGBAR and tries to convince Xehanort that to like let him help.
Yeah. As we know, he lost his eye and star during the TERRA fight and Birth by Sleep.
Mm-hmm. Just take it back. I think he was possessed by LUXU before we meet him in Birth by Sleep. That's where I was getting at. Yeah, and then he fights TERRA and he gets the which is ironically similar to Master ERAQUS. There's like a parallel there with Xehanort. I wonder if that's intentional.
Yeah, ERAQUS has a scar too a little bit.
Well, because Master Xehanort and ERAQUS fight, and I believe almost the exact same thing happens where Master Xehanort shoots 2 dark energy balls that hit him in the face, almost the exact same spots. So I wonder if that's like an intentional parallel, that LUXU is much more similar to Master ERAQUS than we were led to believe.
Yeah, also, it's weird. When you first see LUXU, you know, at least in the cutscenes, no, it's the mobile game, he's more of a laid back character ever, a little bit. Mm-hmm. But when he possesses Boulder, I guess his name is, I forget who he possesses in BRAGI, and later on BRAIG is like he's more of a sassy person than.
Mm-hmm. He's a little jaded. He's a little aged and jaded. He's tired of this.
He's literally been. He's talking about how BRAIG is aged. LUXU has definitely aged mentally throughout the years.
Yeah. I don't have a ton to say about Unicornus. I don't remember his. Is it not Unicornus? About Ira. Like, he's just sort of your generic anime protagonist. I'm gonna do the right thing because it's the right thing kind of guy. He even has a lancer in Used, and like, I don't know, this felt so shonen anime to me that I kind of I don't have a lot.
There's theories about who their parallels are. You know, I don't know if he's the parallel of TERRA or parallel of RIKU.
I think he's the parallel of RIKU because I think Used, the bear, is the parallel of TERRA,
which is the next guy. Second command, who says, if you think Ira's doing a bad job, take over. No problem. That's your role. Take over.
I also think TERRA gets a dark version of Used's Keyblade called Dark Gnaw, or at least it's very similar, if not the same. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
Again, I don't. Yeah. This one is, what is her name? They'll have really simple names.
Who the foretells are fast.
I want to say it's similar to Ira, but like not.
Or the 5
Snake Lady.
Yeah, 4 colors. I only know the one memorized by name.
Yeah, I only know the one that I was in the union of.
Ira.
This is Ira. ENVI.
ENVI.
Yeah, I believe this is the AQUA parallel.
Who's supposed to be the spy, I guess. The spy on everyone. Report back to Ira.
Yeah.
Then
Leopardus.
Gula? Or
What's his name?
Set or Gula?
Gula?
Either
Yeah.
or a Set. I forget which one was which.
This one's Gula.
So the bear was I said.
Yeah. Yeah, this one's Gula. And I think
The
it is
one,
the Ventus parallel, if I recall correctly.
he's the one that has the secret, knows the secret, who has the missing page.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. About him. But then everyone, I think this is supposed to be the KAIRI NAMINE parallel.
Mm-hmm. Ava, I at least have more to say about, because Ava's at least interesting.
And again, like with thing, she's definitely the young. I don't know if she's the youngest, but she's definitely the smallest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would assume she's
and
the
she looks,
youngest.
I don't know if we see her talking to EPHEMER on the fountain. I guess he looks a little bit older than him, but she's definitely younger. Looks younger than all the other foretellers.
Mm-hmm.
And her job is, even though it's weird, I guess she has her own Fox group, you know, but she's also opposite one too. She's supposed to be a Fox foreteller, but also she's also creating dandelions on the side.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if she pulls a lot of people from her own group out to do dandelions or not.
Well, I mean, that's the easiest people. They're right there. She already knows them.
The main thing is, all right, kids, don't fight. Go away, run away. So it's like, if you fight, you're gonna die.
So don't do that.
The other four are like fighting for light and stuff, or illusion. He's like, no. I guess he's also the most.
All right. Lucius said, "All right, I'm gonna head out."
And he's also the most, I don't say sympathetic, but I guess you care about her the most, maybe.
You definitely see her the most.
I don't know if she's the most innocent or not, but
well, not after the Keyblade War, she's not.
but definitely, you know, you see, can you see her childlike attitude when she's like, when Nosferatu creates the Dream Eaters or the kitty cats.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh my god, they're so cute.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's like. SKULD. Which I think the rumor is she might be the person that Isa and Lee are trying to find, and that's the rumor. I think the rumor I've heard that's her.
The rumor, I believe the rumor is, or the theories go, it's either KAIRI, which would make sense, but it's kind of lame, SKULD, or STRELITZIA. I think SKULD is the prevailing theory.
I think STRELITZIA, as we see her, obviously, she's in the fictional world, quote quote.
Yeah, because I think the reason these theories work is because Apprentice XEHANORT was putting random girls, or at least presumably random girls, into the time travel pods. Since he had, I think, 4 or 5 to use. Yeah, at least 4.
I think that might be the theory back to Ava might be the grandmother and Birth by Sleep.
Yeah, that would be kind of cool. That would make sense. That's why she doesn't come back at the end of 3. She's old and dead.
Yeah, she's like, she had a job to do and she did it. Unlike you losers, they didn't do your job yet. She did her thing. You guys are all unfulfilled losers. No saying.
Yeah, she fulfilled her purpose, idiots. The only reason I don't think she's the grandmother from that is because she would be much too old to do that. Like,
yeah,
we don't know the difference of time between.
Yeah, which also, and if she's not the grandmother, then she might be the other theory is she's KAIRI. She's KAIRI reincarnated.
That'd be cool. I could see that. Then that would also work with why she looks the way she does. Why they are so similar.
Yeah, I don't know if she's first we meet or we meet him first. EPHEMER.
I really liked his appearance at the end of 3. I really okay. I don't know. I don't think a lot of people liked it, but I really liked it personally. Me, I loved it. EPHEMER shows up, and you just press triangle to all the names in Union Cross that are now forever in that game. That's so cool to me. I don't care. That's great.
Yeah,
and I love that EPHEMER is the one who does it.
Especially because I had played the game earlier. I had played that game earlier, so my name would be in there.
Yeah. The only thing about EPHEMER is that in Union Cross, he's like kind of weird and like flaky, and like when you're playing the Unchained Key part, which is the pre-Keyblade War part, he's like weird and flaky, and I don't think you ever really find out why, but I believe the reason is because he gets picked as a dandelion by Ava, and then in the Union Cross part, he's like the new Ira stand-in, I believe. So it's like he's just
like all we know of him is he disappeared. Like oh, it's gonna be the guy. Look, I'll do it ahead of time. Like, oh, sorry, you're on your own player character.
Yeah. Oh, sorry, I'm gone. Whatever. It's like, oh, okay, cool, great, thanks, you jerk. And then in the Union Cross version, he's just like kind of like the leader of it, which is sure, why not?
Yeah, we don't know much about Brain except he gets possessed by LUXU at the end.
Mm-hmm.
And
presumably, later I've heard theories that he's didn't, but they're weird, confusing theories.
Yeah, he I guess I don't know, it's weird. He's possessed by LUXU, and then I guess but then also his heart goes into his heart. I guess LUXU places him in his heart. I guess his heart goes in the future, and he appears in the future as himself again, with his hat as a medium.
Yeah, I guess if sure, that works for me.
Right.
There he is, Marmar. I like you know what? I think I really like Marluxia in all versions of him because he's like really sympathetic in that way. Like he's just looking for his sister in Union Cross, and then he's not sympathetic in Chain of Memories, but at least he's interesting.
LAURUAM.
Yeah, LAURUAM.
Yeah, like he's what. Is he taking over the evolution to find his sister, or is he just by that point is he just evil?
So they allude to the fact that he doesn't remember his life before 1.
Yeah.
Or before he's in the organization. At the end of 3, he goes, "Now all of my memories are coming back," or some line like that. So it implies that he actually didn't remember his life in the Union Cross era.
Right.
STRELITZIA, the sister.
Chibi form, and then it's 4 form.
Very realistic form.
Yeah. Is she supposed to be the younger sister or the older sister?
I think she's younger, which would imply that like protectiveness from LAURUAM, but I don't really know. She's also like weirdly naive, and I think that's like part of the younger sister idea. I could just look. This is LAURUAM, the older brother. No, I don't mean Mario. No, not Mario. No. Oh, wait. Family STRELITZIA, younger sister. So yeah, she's the younger sister.
Yeah, they never personality change.
There's that's big change with her.
Yeah, I can't. Larxene in nobody.
ELRENA, I believe.
I nicknamed her Wolverine Girl in Chains. Yes.
Wolverine. She got the knives in her hands. That's good.
Yeah, she seems sweet and nice in this game, but again, she's like a bitch and it's nobody.
I wonder if like part of the reason, I wonder if there's like going to be a story reason in Missing Link, like maybe something like really bad happens to her, and then when she becomes a nobody, she can just let all of the like anger and pain go, so she can just do what she wants, or if it's just like because she lost her heart, she just doesn't care about being kind. Maybe there was
same with Zelden, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
like.
But also, we don't know. Were they drawn together? Were those two drawn together just because, or because of their past? They don't remember, or do they remember their past?
Yeah, maybe she's like Marluxia and doesn't remember her past. There's no indicator that she doesn't, but it could be.
Again, there's the drawn together somehow, the connections, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
And finally, this guy,
BRAGI,
who's is he the one that's possessed?
Yeah, so I wanted to add him in only because he is also LUXU when XEHANORT is a kid. So I felt like he kind of fit with the main cast situation. Baldur also would have fit since he's the villain of Dark Road, but who cares? But we ain't got time for him. And he also just does that very unassuming, under the radar personality thing that XIGBAR does. Until he randomly just hits you with as if, and you're like, whoa.
Yeah. And that's all the characters. If people listening, if you see anything we missed, any characters we missed, or any information we missed on the characters, say so in the comments below. Thanks again for Nick to be here. Go check out his shorts. They are very interesting.
Yes, the Do You Know Kingdom Hearts shorts. They come out every Tuesday.
As always, never stop learning. Enjoy the randomness. I'll see you next Saturday for my review of the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movies. Till then, bye.
Goodbye.